Amen. It's just like when I speak of things that I know in the natural. It's like you got to use your tape when you're taping and bedding. If not, you're going to have a problem. Because when it dry, the crack is going to come back. And you have to, every time you do a layer, you have to sand it. And see, I used to do what we call sanding with a sanding pole. And when you would do that, you get all that white dust all over you. And you have to mask stuff off because you don't want it getting all over the house or whatever you're doing. But then I learned in the years to come, I learned what they call, you can do what's called wet sanding. So if you wet something down, you don't have any dust. Yeah. And man, I'm getting out there with them professionals, all them guys doing all that. And when I learn the tricks, that's something else you do. Now, I don't have to worry about all that dust now because I'm wet sanding. So if I wet sand it, it makes it slick and smooth. And then when I come in to float it out, it works that much better. So it's something you just got to do. If they tell you to grease the pan, you need to grease the pan before you put whatever you're going to put in the pan. If not, something's going to stick. I ain't getting no help right now. Is that all right? All right. It's just certain things you have to do before you do something else. So there's an importance of doing it. And I'm going to let y'all know, I know some of y'all wonder what it is, but I'm going to let you know what it is. It's important. It's important. It's important for you to do this. All right? Now, I've learned from a young child, there's certain things you don't do. You don't go out when it's cold and then run in and put your hands up to the heater. It may sound logical. Woo, but when they get to hurting, you learn don't do that. You don't do that. Is that all right? You don't go out there and put your tongue on a cold post. You can get it off, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you some hide off your tongue. Is that all right? Y'all with me? Y'all get what I'm saying, right? Okay, now we're going to go to the book of Ephesians. When Paul wrote to the church of Ephesus, chapter 10. Going to start reading at verse 6. Ephesians 6 and 10, the importance of doing it. There's some things we have to do. It's a struggle. Sometimes you figure, well, I don't have to have that. And the very time you leave, how many ever bought something and put it together, and when you got through with it, you had some bolts or screws left over? And they say, I didn't need that anyway. That was just extra. No, that wasn't extra. That was part of it. And then sometimes you do something, and then if you do it right, now you got to go back and take all that loose because you didn't do this first. I guess y'all ain't never done nothing like that. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. Them old boys up there, some mechanics years ago, they had that fourth spark plug, and it's back there under the heat, under the blower, and they can't get to it. And they say throw that one over the fence or put it back in the toolbox. Like, I didn't need that one anyway, because they didn't have the tools to get back there to get to it. So that was the excuse. Because it was hard to get to, it didn't really need it. You might not believe it. Some of the stuff that's the hardest to get to, that's the main thing you. All right. Let's go to work. Y'all ready to go to work? Ephesians 6 and 10. What did it say? Read for me.
Finally,
my brethren, that means sisters too. Do what?
Be strong in the Lord.
Now, Paul is written to the church and told the husbands how to love the wives, how the wives to love the husband, children obey your parents and all that. And then he gets down, he said, finally, I'm summing it all up. My brethren, be strong in the Lord. Read.
And in the power of his might.
I want y'all to notice something. I picked up something this evening in the scripture that I hadn't seen. And in the power of his might. If you read verse 3, what did it say?
That it may be well with thee.
Verse 3? Verse 13, I'm sorry.
Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God.
Read.
That ye may be able to.
Notice what he says. He's going to take unto you what?
The whole armor of God.
Now, who owns armor? You're not putting on yours. You're putting on the whole armor of God. Right? Y'all see that? You're going to put on the whole armor of God. Verse 11 says what?
Put on the whole armor of God.
So he's bringing this point out. He wants us to understand it's not your armor, it's the whole armor of God.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. The whole armor of God. See, God is the one that's issuing out the armor. It's up to us to put it on.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes guys in combat and this and that and the other, well, it's hot. I don't need this. And the very time you think you don't need something, bam, that's when you get hit. Uh-huh. Playing ball. Years ago, we played football. Man, let me tell you something. We made up pads when you didn't have to have pads. We had kidney pads. And plus we played quarterback. God, you want to put on every pad. Guys had arm pads. They had them on their arm. They had pads on their shins. They had knee pads. And they had all kinds. Then they had the kidney pads in their pants. Then they had some real pads that they could put on. Then you had thigh pads. You had all the pads behind and everything like that. Now they playing football look like they got on gym shorts. They cut off up above the knee. Man, we were trying to keep from getting all them grass burns and stuff on our knee. Now they don't even play with that anymore. And quarterbacks, they put on flak jackets and all kinds of stuff, trying to protect themselves. Helmets. Some of the helmets we had on, they were so loose you could almost spin them around. Now, oh God. They got the helmets, now they got so much cushion and pad in them. Look like they fitting up in a mitt. But what I'm saying is, they do this because it's your betterment. So what is the Lord telling us? I know some of y'all thought I was finna talk. I'm not finna talk about football. I'm trying to show you if the importance of that for players to protect themselves, how important it is for us to put on the whole armor. Notice what he said. No, not part of it. The whole armor. Wow. The whole armor. In other words, what Paul is going to do, he's going to take the saint of God and he's going to almost dress him like a Roman soldier. The Roman soldiers were so that when they would come under attack, their shields were made so that they could come together in a group and put their shields together, and their shield would become almost like a cocoon. It would become one big massive shield that would protect them. They could all come back together and put their shield, and they would almost interlock. Look like almost like an Eskimo igloo. That was their means of protecting, but it took everybody. Now, what if you left your shield? My question is, are you wearing it all? Sometimes we get tired of carrying stuff. I wish somebody would talk to me. Sometimes when the Holy Ghost tells you to get up and pray, if you ain't careful, your flesh will say, well, you can just pray right here, looking at the ceiling. And you tell yourself you're going to pray, and you start out praying, and you know what happened. Words become few. And then after a while, you're going to sleep. Can I get a half amen on this side? I'm just saying. Putting on the whole. Sometime if we ain't careful, we can spend more time doing other stuff than in our word. Help me, Holy Ghost. Sometimes we tell ourselves, I'm going to do some studying, but we don't get around to it. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something tonight. I can bring to you a lot of stuff about what's going on in the world, the news, and this and that and the other. But there's a time and a season for everything. Some stuff you just don't even. Sometimes I tell Sister Rogers, I said, now, when I'm listening to Don Lemon and Anderson Cooper and them different guys on the news, when I listen so much, I get tired of listening. I don't want to listen anymore. And I can find out where people are just in a little bit when they start talking about news. Because when I hear these people making all these statements about 9/11 and this and that and the other, and how the tragedy and they got the memorial and all this, 9/11 still was one of the biggest hoaxes we ever had. I know some folk don't say, well, Sister Rosa and I was talking, and they showed a building over there on Turtle Creek the other day on the news. Some of y'all may have seen it on one of the local news stations, and they took it out. They demoed it. And when the explosive went off, the building just collapsed and came right back in. That's the same thing that happened at 9/11. If you notice the World Trade Center, they didn't fall to the right or to the left. That was a controlled demolition. We blew up our own building. That's when folk don't like me. But our own government blew up our own building. We killed our own people so we could get the Patriot Act and some of this other stuff put in place. That's what's going on in America. And all these presidents had their part in it, including Obama and the rest of them. It's a hoax. See, one of the law of motion says that when a moving object come in contact with a fixed object, that the energy is reversed. And meaning that the moving object usually takes on a mushroom effect. I'll give y'all a perfect example. You hit a tree with your car. I guarantee you your car won't hold its shape. Your car going to do this. But how is it that those planes just flew right into the Empire State Building, just nothing fell back on the ground, it just sucked it up? And how is it that a plane can go all the way through a building and the nose shape come out on the other side? And you can tell it's the shape of a nose of a plane. There's some of the stuff that I'm just saying. And then building 7, they said they had to pluck it or pull it. Same term they use for demolition work. And it was mile blocks from the World Trade Center. When did you have time to plant the explosive to blow it up the same day? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And Rudolph Giuliani was standing down there at ground zero saying it was 2,000 degrees down there. That means his shoes should have been on fire, and somebody should have been spraying a water hose on him. 2,000 degrees? I'm just saying America's in trouble. My point is, I'm going to get down to all of this. I'm tying something in. When I get down to it, I don't want to say a whole lot. And how is it that night they sent about 18 or better barges of steel to China that night? You're removing evidence from a crime scene. Okay. I'm just saying. And the Pentagon wasn't hit by a plane. It was hit by a drone. And the plane, 93, that went down in the cornfield, they doing all that talking from a cell phone. Cell phone won't pick up down here with towers. How's it going to pick up there? And when do you have to call your mama and give your mama your whole name? Your mama should know your voice. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And so we're going to see something here. We're going to get down, for the next verse is getting ready to get down to something. Finish up 11. Come on.
Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
So what is he telling you? If you don't put on the whole armor of God, then you won't be able to stand against the tricks of the devil. The only way you're going to stand against the tricks of the devil, you got to put on the whole armor. So if you don't put on the whole armor, then you find yourself in a defenseless position. You find yourself, you're the odd man out. The devil got the upper hand because you didn't put on. Notice this, he ain't making nobody. He's telling us to put on the whole armor, all of it. Read the Bible.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Now, some of y'all was wondering why I was saying some of the stuff that I was saying. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Read.
But against principalities.
Against principalities.
Against powers.
Against powers.
Against the rulers of darkness of this world.
Oh, God. Now, what you think that is? There's a group called the family. It's the shadow government of the United States of America. There's a gentleman by the name of Don Coe. He's dead now. But they started their own religion. They wrote their own Bible. Had Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then they had the Acts, and that was the rest of it. Some of y'all, Thomas Jefferson wrote his own Bible when he was president. So, we are wrestling against some stuff. People, let me tell y'all something. We ain't talking about Bishop Radoff over there at Kingdom's World. Or this preacher's not preaching there. We are fighting some spiritual demons. And these demons are operating. Number one, we're spiritual wickedness. We're fighting against the LGBTQ. They have their own teachers' union. They're teaching our kids. Some of them come to school dressed like drag queens. And they're telling our kids that their way of life is the best way. They're teaching our kids that the way you were raised with a mom and a daddy is not the right way. Let me get this button loose. I might well go and drive this nail. I told you shouldn't have messed with my arm. But see, you got to understand something. We up against something. And we got a lot of people that they're gay and they're trying to make themselves be as if this is the way it's supposed to be. There's a group in politics called the Stonewall. That's a group of gay politicians. Look it up for yourself. And people are influencing our government. They just arrested a Republican senator from Pennsylvania. Had pornography and all kinds of stuff on his phone. Oh, man. So what they're doing, they're gradually working their way into our society. They're trying to pull on our kids at school, little young ones, trying to persuade our daughters and sons to be like them. Get no help right now. Y'all just keep listening. I don't need no amen. I'm on the radio. I'm going to plow the road tonight. When I go back to base, I'm empty. See, if we ain't careful, we can be in a daze spiritually and junk going on all around us. You see, men, it's easy for them to pop off when we know what they are. But women, it's a whole different story. See, they can be real subtle. You don't know what's going on with them. Come on. We're wrestling against all of the Roman Catholic Church is getting ready to file bankruptcy on a lot of their churches, dioceses because of lawsuits. That's right. The Bible never did teach that. Paul said every man has his own gift. If you don't have the gift to live and celebrate, if you don't have the gift to live without being married, that's you. But every man don't have that gift. He said, I would that every man was I, even as I, but every man has his proper gift. Peter was an apostle, but Peter had a wife. Peter had a wife because Jesus prayed for Peter's mother-in-law. You can't have a mother-in-law without having a wife. See, we think it's, this church up here. Y'all don't know, they got a synagogue of Satan. They actually worship the devil. We're dealing with the Masons, the Masonic. We're dealing with the elite. We're dealing with the Knights of the Golden Triangle, the Round Table, and all these other folks. That we're dealing with secret societies. And they're infiltrating our system. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. Go somewhere, any city you go into, I guarantee you, if they have a marquee out there before you enter to that city, you're going to see the Lions Club, you're going to see a Church of Christ sign by itself. Oh, God. And then you're going to see the Lions Club, you're going to see the Masons in every city. I went to a little town, Winona. I don't think it had 400, like 300 some people live in the whole of the town. And right on the main street, they got the lodge. God ain't saying nothing about no lodge. He said he was coming back out to church, not a lodge. Ain't getting no help right now. And they played us stupid when we were little. Y'all remember Fred and Barney Rubbles? They remember the Water Buffaloes, wasn't it? Oh, God. Ain't getting no help right now. They were playing us way back then. And we didn't think that about it. They got to go to the lodge, meaning the Water Buffaloes. Guys like Magneto, he's gay. Mr. Sulu, Mr. Spock, Tommy, on Martin, all these folk. Tupac got killed because Quincy Jones gay. That's when Peggy Lipton left him. We're wrestling against junk. And we got politicians that's gay. We got one running for president. He's gay. I ain't making this up. I'm telling us what it is. We've got the over there on Cedar Springs over there. Temple of Hope. What kind of hope? But see nobody go, but don't nobody want to say nothing. Don't nobody want to say nothing. We all serve the same God. We all, no. We don't all serve, my God won't let me do that. I know I'm messing up some stuff tonight. Y'all just don't know. I ain't got nothing wrote down up here. I'm just shooting from the hip, and I'm going to have to cut the valve off because stuff is still coming down. We're in a dangerous time. We are in a dangerous time. We've got women loving women, men loving men. We got all kind of perverted folk. Some folk don't. Men don't want to be. They want to be down low, but you low down and nasty. That's what you are. You're gonna be a bisexual. And then, if y'all ever notice something, you know what they put on TV when the news go off? Extra and all this other mess, so we can find out what's going on in Central Time about their dirty lifestyle, how they having babies by this one, never got married, and all that. And if you ain't kept an extra, you want to see what's going on. Love me or like me. You watching all that junk, TMZ, all them old crazy folks on there talk. All of them, it's a bad thing when men getting all into all this old petty, messy stuff. Well as I know his name, I'm looking at little old fella just had the car wreck. He got a $60 million lawsuit against him. And what's his name? Kevin Spacey. They got all kind of junk against him. Sexual misconduct. Fooling with boys and stuff. And we supposed to look the other way. Hell, I wish somebody say something. Lick your lip before they stick together. We living in the same world. This is what's going on. We are fighting. And the thing about it is, it's in our government. Donald Trump is not doing this mess by himself. He's doing it because the elite want to see how far we can go before the American public scream. They say we've had enough. Had a perfect example in the little story, the movie that came out about Sherlock Holmes. Lord Blackwood. They were going to take over Parliament. Martin Downey Jr. was in it. Jude Law. But what was happening was certain people knew about it. The others didn't, so they had come up with an antidote and they were going to poison Parliament and try to take over. That's what's happening today. There are certain people in politics that know what's going on. Others don't, and that's why they just can't push it through. Lindsey Graham talked about Trump like he had a tail before he became president. Now he's in office, he's scared to say anything, like somebody choked him almost, put a muzzle in put a tennis ball in his mouth, and then taped his mouth with duct tape. This is the kind of stuff that we're up against. We got whole religious holiness institution, and the leaders are gay. Guys like Carlton Pearson preaching this mess about the devil can be saved. You know you got up, but don't nobody supposed to say nothing. Ain't nobody saying that. These preachers got their lips locked. This is what we're up against. We're fighting against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. When Cole was living, President Clinton, Bush, and all of them praised him for what he did. Because he formed a religious order, and he was able to go all over the world. And he got into places where with high officials. And you know what they taught? You know what they taught? They taught strength from weakness. They taught people like Adolf Hitler was, if God chose you, if you was in that situation, that means God chose you for that. If Mussolini did what he did, all that, Idi Amin did all that, that was your purpose. They tried to describe David, where David committed sin with Bathsheba, but then they want to describe David as being a man after God's own heart, and the reason God loved him because he was after his own heart. So it wasn't wrong about what he did. And having a baby by Bathsheba didn't have Uriah killed. It represented power. We wrestle again. Power. This is that teaching. That's the reason Trump want to be like Kim. That's the reason he want to be like Putin. He want to show himself powerful. I'm just saying. This is what we're up against. Look at the church world now. The church world at large is just folding our hands. We so busy trying to commingle with folk, trying to coexist with folk. We don't bother stuff no more. Down in Atlanta, you don't need to go to Atlanta. Y'all be blown away. Everywhere you blow, God bless you, God bless you, God bless, have a blessed day. Man, Express, you go to Tractor Supply, Brooks, or wherever you go, Walmart, God bless everybody. And then folk living like dogs. Come on. One of the preachers down there, God. Man, they having dog fight. Preachers having all kind of affairs in the church. Maybe don't like me now. I'm putting the cover off, John. But against principalities, against power. Come on and read for me so I can get out of this place. Read for the rulers of darkness of this world. Come on.
Wherefore, take unto you.
And because of, take unto you what?
The whole armor of God.
He said, because of what I'm telling you again, take the whole, put it on. It's important that you do it. It's important that you do it. They're moving toward a cashless society. Hello? Y'all notice gas went up a little bit? What it was? Iran is supposed to attack Saudi Arabia, right? Gas went up that quick. All they got to do is get a little wind blowing down in the Gulf, and the refining is supposed to be, and gas go up that quick. Don't you know the system don't want you to get good? Every time you get a little chance, you get your income tax check, they're going to bring something that's going to eat your little money up and keep you in the hole. That's the way it's designed to work. Hello. So we get a little, they're trying to blame it on Iran. And Saudi Arabia won't even say Iran did it. But the United States is trying to say they did. Y'all remember the Boston Tea Party? The Boston Tea Party wasn't Indians. It was white men painted up like Indians. A few years ago, over there in Iraq, they were having all kind of commotions and stuff was going on. People driving, shooting AK-47 and throwing hand grenades. And when they captured, it was 2 British soldiers with turbans and painted their skin dark so they would look like they were Arabs. Listen, people, they've been doing this kind of junk forever. I told Sister Roger, I saw years ago, it was a movie came on TV, don't even remember the name of it. You can see the guy's face right now. And they would sit at a bar and they asked him, they were talking about what they did, and he asked the man, and said, what do you do? I start wars. He start wars. Do y'all not know wars is big business? And people lose money when there is no war. You got somebody like Remington. Ain't no war. They trying to sell a deer rifle every now and then and this and that. But when they have a war, Remington got to make. Woo! They got to make weapons. Winchester got to make rounds of ammunition. Somebody got to make helmets. Somebody got to make boots. Somebody got to make buckles and belts. Everybody's making money. Now I found you that moving steel are making more tanks and this and that and the other. That's money. But they make money when banks finance wars. Because what banks will do, they'll finance one side and then finance the other side and give the one that they want to win the most money. And when they win, then they got to pay that money back. The other places all tore up. And then now they got to go in and do the infrastructure. Then Halliburton come in, they paint it, and make plenty of money putting back the infrastructure. I remember not too long ago we had that oil well down in the Gulf Coast and they couldn't stop it from leaking. They had Red Adair and all kinds of folk down there trying to, how can we do it? They was asking the public, do you have any suggestions? Finally they went down there with a robot and capped it off. And then they messed up the coast. Then BP came there talking about how many millions they spent. They were washing ducks down with Dawn dishwashing liquid. They're talking about how much money they spent to make the Louisiana coast, the Gulf Coast, Georgia and all that livable again. People, it's a racket. During the time of the cavalry, the United States Army gave blankets to the Apache Indian with smallpox on. They called it the Trail of Tears. Our government. Black men was given syphilis deliberately. See, when a black man goes to prison, he loses his right to vote. He loses his citizenship. So that means you have less political power. At one time, every time a black woman got sick and went to the hospital, they was recommending hysterectomy. I don't care what you want, give her a hysterectomy. We wrestle again. How? There was a black woman the other day. She used a homeless woman used somebody a family's address to get a child into school. They gave her 5 years in prison. And this fool, this movie star, that spent $15 million for her daughter to get into UCLA, they gave her, 14 days in prison and then a $30,000 fine, and then they had to select people that's going to be in the cell with her because of who she is. Now here's a woman just used a fraudulent, and when she used somebody's address because she didn't live there, so her daughter could go to a good school. They gave her 5 years in prison. This woman got 14 days. Maybe some of y'all need to get up and leave. Y'all don't like what I'm saying. This is the junk we fighting against. Talking about separation of church and state. And every time you turn around, they're trying to take some of the church's rights away. Trying to fix it so that if somebody gay walk in my church and if they want me to marry them, then I got to marry them. If I don't marry them, they can file charges against me. Well, we just have to go to court. Give me my chance to speak. Now, if you don't want to have the Bible, go get Huck Finn or something. But if if you don't believe what the Bible says, don't even swear by it. Don't even pick it up. You're going to ask me to swear and tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Then you don't believe what's in this book. You're a lie and the truth ain't in you. So You mess with my arm. We're ambassadors for Christ. We're God's representatives. It's our job. Stand on the wall. People want somebody to moan. Oh, is that right? Then everybody get to hollering and bouncing and jumping, and they step dancing and kicking high and all kinds of stuff, and ain't got nothing in them. These demons are real. The demons of hell have gotten together, and they come against the church, and they're trying to bring a compromising spirit to the church. They want us to compromise and let them in. Look the other way. Don't say nothing. Let a man come in with a beret. I don't care how good he can play. Let him play. Let him wear his beret. The devil is a lie. We'll beat on a box and clap our hands. I'm going to let you direct my choir. I don't care if your mama is. I don't care if your dad is a superintendent of Sunday school. They ain't talking about Brother Joe. I'm just using for an example. I don't care who you are. Ain't nobody above the law. Notice what he said. Can y'all get something out of the scripture? Notice what he said. It ain't just a passive thing. He said, we wrestle. Have y'all ever seen the WWF and back years ago when wrestling was showing up wrestling, or you went to school and they had wrestling team? We wrestle. This ain't no playing and we just tagging and patty caking. No, we wrestle. When you wrestle and you're trying to get that position, and sometimes they stay balled up like that for a while before one try to get that move and flip him over. Sometimes he got him all up on his head almost, trying to get her loose. That's right. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. We ain't fighting man. We're fighting the demons that's in men. And the devil will use whoever. Back during the time of Micaiah, when Ahab got ready to go to war, and Jehoshaphat asked him, say, don't you have a man of God here? Yeah, I got one, but he don't never prophesy good about me. He said, don't let the king say so. Go get it. And they went, you know what they did? They got together and told Micaiah, listen, we've all prophesied. And told the king, go to battle, you're going to win. God's going to give you the victory. We want you to say the same thing we say. Micaiah act like, yeah, okay. Hezekiah made some big horns of brass and came in there talking about how Ahab was going to conquer all. And when Micaiah came in there, he got to talking. He told me, go up, you're going to prevail. And man, it's bad when somebody, they know you ain't telling the truth, and they know what you're saying is. Yeah. And then the king said, how long you going to lie to me? How long you going to do this and antagonize me? He said, well, I did see Israel scattered upon the hillsides as sheep without a shepherd. Oh, boy. Man, they got to talking junk. You know what? And Hezekiah walked up and slapped him. He said, now, which way did the Spirit of the Lord go? He told me, he said, you're going to find out when you run in your inner chamber to hide yourself. Come on. Then the king told him, say, listen, give this fella bread and water of affliction until I come back. You know what Micaiah told him? He said, if you come back, he said, the Lord haven't spoken by me. And you know what? He believed it too. Because he got Jehoshaphat to switch garments with him. God, look at the devil. But baby, when God is out to get you, God gets the Holy Ghost is, he works in the FBI. He gets his man. And when they went to battle, they switched garments. And the Bible said an archer pre-adventure drew his arrow, and he looked and said, that ain't Ahab. And he hit him, bam, right between them. And there he slumped over in his chair. Let me tell you something, baby. That's the kind of stuff that goes on behind closed doors. And they want you to get on the wagon and get with everybody else. But when you get on the wagon and preach what they preach and say what they say, then they want to look at you. You know what? You're a troublemaker. Well, God, let me be a troublemaker. Let me go a little bit further. Boy, y'all sure looking plain tonight. I'm wondering if I'm in the right church. Y'all sort of looking like y'all sort of dazed. Was the story that, maybe I told the story too good. Jesus, maybe I'm telling y'all looking like, well, where's the popcorn? Come on and read for me.
Wherefore take unto thee the whole armor of God.
There it is, the whole armor of God.
That you may be able to withstand in the evil day.
Notice what he say. In the evil, notice that evil, not days, but day. Mm-hmm. Read.
And having done all.
And when you have done all that you could do, what?
To stand.
To stand. Do what?
Stand therefore.
Stand therefore. That means stand anyway. That's when you have to reach down and find that other you. That's where you have to find that person that you haven't prayed up on yet. That's when you have to find that person you haven't fasted up to yet. When you've done everything you can do to stand. You know what the book, God don't feel sorry for none of us. You know what he told us to do? Stand anyway. And not only just standing, but watch now he's going to dress us up. Read what he said.
Stand therefore. Having your loins girt.
Having your loins girded. Sisters, I don't have to tell y'all what a girdle is. Having your loins girded. You know what a girt's going to do? It's going to... Y'all remember them old movies and women would put them on and they put their foot in the back and pull the strings? God. Well, it's good when they put the foot in the back and pull them strings. They had that commercial on TV about Abe Lincoln, and his wife asked him, say, is this dress too? He said, a little bit. She just got it. Just walked on, because he told the truth. Abe couldn't lie. Read what he said.
Having your loins girded.
Having your loins, your midsection girded with what?
About with truth.
You got your loins girded about with the truth. Meaning if you have your midsection girded tight with the truth, that means a lie can't get in and a lie can't get out. But if you leave your gird off loose, and if you loose, something gonna move, something gonna get out, some sure can get in. Help, Lord. You can't be laughing when you're reading. You gotta keep it. Having your loins girded about with truth. Read.
And having on the breastplate of righteousness.
And notice what he got. You having your loins, before you put your breastplate on, girt your loins first. Right. Then you got on the breastplate of righteousness. Righteousness is going to cover your heart. Righteousness is going to cover your vital organs. Righteousness becomes your shield, your defense, with the breastplate of righteousness. Read.
And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
And he used the term shod, just like we would refer to putting shoes on a horse. You don't put shoes on a horse until you file his hoofs down first. If the hoofs are splintered and ragged, you're going to clip all that rough part up and take a file and make it round and smooth. Then when you put the shoes on and you drive the nails up through the hoofs and you bend them down, then you make sure that that shoe sticks out just a little bit further than the end of the hoof. The purpose of the shoe is to protect the horse's foot. That's why on those movies when they throw a shoe, usually the horse come up lame. He's limping. He's tenderfoot. So what's going to happen to you if you don't have your foot shod with the gospel? You're going to get tenderfoot. When you get tenderfoot, you can't run now. When you get tenderfoot, you got to be real careful. When you get tenderfoot, you're hopping. Rocks be tearing you up. You can get offended.